The sky was heavy with gray clouds that morning, casting long shadows across the schoolyard. The kind of day where even laughter feels muted, where the air carries a weight that most ignore, but not Valentina Shevchenko. She felt it deep inside. It wasn't the weather pressing down on her heart. It was something heavier. Something that had followed her for months. Valentina sat alone on the wooden bench near the basketball court, her backpack clutched tight to her chest, her eyes fixed on the cracks in the pavement. Children ran past her, chasing after each other with shrieks of joy, their sneakers squeaking against the wet ground. To them, the day was ordinary. But for Valentina, ordinary no longer existed. Every step she took on campus came with the dread of what was waiting for her. You see, Valentina wasn't weak. She wasn't fragile. She wasn't the shy girl everyone thought she was. In truth, she was stronger than even she realized. At home, her life was disciplined, structured, filled with early mornings of martial arts practice before dawn. Her mother had raised her on principles of respect, patience, and resilience. The greatest battles, her mother always told her, are the ones fought inside, between your anger and your peace. But at school, none of that seemed to matter. All they saw was a girl who kept to herself. A girl who rarely spoke. A girl who walked with her head slightly lowered, as though trying to disappear into the crowd. And to the bullies, that made her the perfect target. The bullies. There were 4 of them, 3 boys and 1 girl. Together, they formed a cruel little pack, feeding off one another's laughter and daring one another to push the limits of meanness. Jason, the tallest, was their leader. Loud, brash, always desperate for attention. He came from a broken home, but instead of finding healing, he found control in making others feel small. Mark, his shadow, was less confident, but laughed the loudest whenever Jason humiliated someone. He was the kind who bullied not out of cruelty but out of fear of being the next target. Ryan, the smallest, was the troublemaker. What he lacked in size, he made up for with a sharp tongue, always ready with a cutting insult. And then there was Amber, a girl with a cruel smirk who often instigated the torment with whispers and rumors. She enjoyed watching others squirm under her words. To them, Valentina was entertainment. It started small, books knocked off her desk, whispered insults as she passed by, mocking the way she spoke. But as weeks turned into months, it became relentless. Rumors about her family spread. Lunch trays accidentally spilled on her. Lockers slammed shut just as she tried to reach inside. Valentina endured it all with silence. Her classmates noticed but looked away. Nobody wanted to risk becoming the next victim. Aria didn't wait. She pivoted, her footwork clean and practiced. A sharp jab to another man's ribs stole his breath. He doubled over, wheezing. The tallest one lunged, swinging his bottle. Aria ducked effortlessly, her fist driving into his gut with such force that he dropped to his knees. Years of training flowed through her body like instinct. Every strike was efficient, every dodge precise. She wasn't just fighting, she was controlling the storm. Within minutes, 4 men lay groaning, clutching their injuries. The last one stumbled back, his phone still recording, his face pale. "Who the hell are you?" he stammered. Aria's chest rose and fell steadily. Her expression never changed. "I'm no one," she said quietly. "Just someone who doesn't play games." She pulled her hood back up, stepped over their fallen bodies, and walked into the night without looking back. Scene 4, the flashback, how she became a fighter. That wasn't the first time Aria had been cornered. She remembered being 14, walking home from school in the same neighborhood. A group of older kids had mocked her patched-up backpack, her worn-out shoes. One of them had shoved her to the ground. Her books scattered across the dirt while laughter rained down on her. She hadn't fought back. She had sat there, tears blurring her vision, wishing she could vanish. That night, her father had seen the bruises. His once proud shoulders had slumped with guilt. For years, he'd drowned himself in alcohol, broken by the injury that stole his boxing career. But that night, he dusted off his old gloves. "You want the world to stop treating you like a victim?" he asked. "Then we train." the basement became her second home. At first, she hated it, the soreness in her arms, the blisters on her hands, the exhaustion that left her breathless. But little by little, she felt herself change. Punches became cleaner. Her stance grew solid. Her eyes sharper. And more importantly, her fear began to fade. By 16, she stepped into her first underground fight. The crowd had jeered at the sight of a skinny girl in oversized gloves. Her opponent had smirked. But when the bell rang, she floored him in less than 2 rounds. From that night, she wasn't just Aria anymore. She was the ghost a name whispered through the underground boxing circuit. Scene 5, The Aftermath. The Hooligans video leaked. They had meant to humiliate her, but instead, the footage showed their arrogance crumbling under the fists of a woman they thought was weak. The internet erupted. Comments flooded in. I never wanted to hurt you. But strength isn't about making others feel small. It's about protecting what matters. And with that, she walked away, her steps measured, her dignity intact. The aftermath. The story spread through the school like wildfire. Whispers filled the halls. Students who had once turned away when Valentina was mocked now looked at her with awe. They had witnessed something extraordinary, not a fight, but a demonstration of real strength. The bullies, once feared, now carried the weight of their shame. They avoided Valentina, but not out of fear of her fists, out of respect for her composure. For the first time, they saw how empty their cruelty had been. A week later, Jason approached her. His voice cracked, his hands stuffed in his pockets. I'm sorry, he muttered. We were wrong. I was wrong. You didn't deserve any of that. Valentina studied him for a long moment, then nodded. Apology accepted. Just don't repeat it with anyone. From that day forward, the bullying stopped. The message. Valentina never bragged. She never retold the story for glory. She continued her life with quiet strength. But those who saw what happened never forgot. She had shown them that silence doesn't mean weakness. That kindness isn't cowardice. That when paired with discipline, patience is the greatest power of all. And her story became a quiet legend, a reminder that the strongest people are often the ones who fight not to hurt, but to protect. Closing call to action. Friends, if Valentina's story inspired you, let me know your thoughts in the comments. Have you ever been underestimated because you stayed silent? Have you ever been pushed to a point where you had to show your true strength? Share your story, I'd love to hear it. And if you want more emotional and powerful stories like this one, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Be Kind Always. Because in a world where cruelty is easy, kindness is the true strength we all need. One evening, sitting on the porch as the sun dipped low, her father placed an arm around her shoulders. You didn't just win a race, he said. You won yourself back. That's a victory no one can take from you. Emily smiled, her heart full. For the first time, she believed it. Final message. Emily's story is not just about a farm girl and her Navy SEAL father. It's about every person who's ever been underestimated, mocked, or bullied for being different. It's about learning that strength doesn't always mean fighting back with fists, it means standing tall when the world tries to push you down. So if you've ever felt small, if you've ever been laughed at or left out, remember this: you are stronger than the doubts, braver than the bullies, and greater than the obstacles. Call to action. If Emily's story touched your heart, I want to hear from you. Have you faced bullies in your life? How did you find the courage to rise above them? Share your story in the comments below. I read every single one. And if you want more powerful and emotional stories like this, make sure to subscribe to my channel Be Kind Always. Together, we can spread kindness, courage, and hope, one story at a time.